Welcome to Inside Headlines. I'm Christopher.
And I'm Rachel.
Today we're diving deep into the life and legacy of President Jimmy Carter.
But through a very special lens.
That's right.
The personal stories and insights of Meredith Evans.
Meredith Evans, of course.
The current director of the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library and Museum.
And as you'll hear, her connection to President Carter goes way back, even before her time as director.
Yeah, it's actually quite a story.
It really is.
Imagine, a 4-year-old Meredith Evans writing a letter to President Carter requesting to have her birthday party at the White House.
That's amazing.
And she even included $1.01 to support his presidency.
$1 for her and a penny from her sister.
Exactly, $1 for her and a penny from her sister.
And now that letter, along with President Carter's response, is part of the presidential archives.
At the very library Evans directs.
That's just incredible.
It really is.
What does this tell us about how seemingly personal items become historically significant?
Well, it kind of highlights a crucial aspect of archiving. Like when you see even seemingly trivial items like letters or children's artwork can provide a really unique window into a historical figure's personality and values.
Yeah.
So in this case, it reveals President Carter's approachability and his willingness to engage with the public even in the midst of his presidency.
I mean, it really makes you think about what we choose to preserve.
Right.
And how those choices shape our understanding of history.
Absolutely.
I also read that Evans actually met the Carters years later at a church in Plains, Georgia, long before becoming the director of the library.
Yeah.
It seems like her connection to President Carter was almost destined.
It's fascinating how life comes full circle.
Yeah.
These personal connections certainly add a layer of depth to Evans' work at the library and her understanding of Carter's legacy.
Okay.
But what I find particularly interesting is this exhibit at the museum featuring 100 portraits of President Carter.
Really?
What stands out is the diversity of artists and the materials used, from, professional oil paintings to portraits made from paddy seeds and yarn.
You don't see that every day.
You really don't.
What was the thinking behind including such a diverse range of artistic styles?
Well, the exhibit actually goes beyond a traditional portrait gallery.
Oh, okay.
It aims to showcase the creative process itself.
Interesting.
They've even included preliminary sketches alongside finished portraits like those by artist Chris DiDomizio.
Yeah.
This offers a glimpse into how artists develop their ideas and refine their techniques over time.
Oh, that's cool.
It's especially inspiring for young people to see that there's no one right way to create.
Right.
And that even accomplished artists start with rough drafts.
It's a good reminder that everyone starts somewhere.
Definitely.
And the journey is just as important as the destination.
Exactly.
But beyond the exhibits, Evans has had some pretty interesting personal interactions with President Carter.
Oh, yeah.
Both during her job interview and in subsequent meetings.
Right.
What kind of insights has she gleaned from these encounters?
Well, what struck Evans was President Carter's vision for the museum itself.
Oh, really?
He didn't want it to be a static monument to his presidency.
Interesting.
He really desired a space that would inspire action.
Okay.
A place where visitors could learn from his experiences and be motivated to make a difference.
I see.
And this desire, I think, speaks volumes about his character and his commitment to serving others.
It sounds like he was very much focused on the bigger picture.
Yeah.
On using his experiences to create positive change in the world.
Absolutely.
And,
And Evans has also observed
yes,
how his personal experiences, growing up in segregation, witnessing election fraud, traveling the world, all shaped his dedication to human rights,
yeah,
election monitoring, and healthcare.
it's true. And this is really where we start to see the depth and complexity of President Carter.
Okay.
Yeah, the museum doesn't shy away from presenting a nuanced view of him,
Okay.
showcasing, his flaws alongside his achievements.
Right.
He wasn't just a president.
He was, as Evans describes him, an everyday guy that just happened to run the country.
I like that.
It's that human element that makes his story so relatable and his legacy so enduring.
That's really interesting.
Yes.
I'm curious to hear more.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's fascinating how all of his personal experiences really did shape his values and priorities as president.
Absolutely.
And speaking of those personal experiences, there's that amazing anecdote about President Carter visiting the Peanut Brigade exhibit at the museum.
Oh, right.
And he actually learned something new about his own past.
I love that story.
It's so cool.
It really shows his humility and openness to new perspectives.
Yeah.
Even after, all he'd accomplished, he was still eager to learn and, even be surprised.
Yeah.
And in this case, he got a deeper understanding of the challenges that peanut farmers faced during that time.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Highlighting the complex, social and economic realities of the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's remarkable to think that a president could learn something new about his own past. like an exhibit in his own museum.
Exactly.
It speaks volumes about his character.
It does. And it's not an isolated incident either.
Oh, really?
He had a similar reaction when he saw his own artwork on display.
Oh, wow. What was that like?
It was pretty funny, actually.
Oh, yeah.
His response was incredibly down to earth,
Uh-huh.
almost as if he were saying, why would anyone want to see that?
Interesting.
It was just, further emphasizing his humility.
Okay.
He viewed his artistic pursuits as a personal passion
Right.
rather than something, worthy of being on display.
It humanizes him even more.
It does.
He wasn't just a politician.
Yeah.
But a man with hobbies and interests, just like anyone else.
Absolutely. And it ties into something that Evans said about him,
Okay.
describing him as thoughtful and fun to be around, but someone who keeps you on your toes.
I like that.
It's that blend of, warmth intellect and that sharp wit that makes him so compelling. He could connect with people on a personal level while also challenging them to think critically.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about exploring history through personal stories.
Right.
It lets us connect with these figures like President Carter on a human level,
Right. Yeah.
recognizing their complexities and their contradictions.
It's so true. We often think of these historical figures as these icons,
Yeah, larger than life.
Exactly.
Right.
But they were real people with real experiences that shaped who they were.
Yeah.
And in President Carter's case, those experiences led to a remarkable life, dedicated to service and making the world a better place.
Definitely.
And, it's amazing to consider how one little girl's letter to the president
Right.
ultimately led to her becoming the director of his presidential library.
It's a testament to the power of personal connections
Absolutely.
and the unexpected ways that our lives can intersect with history.
Yeah, and it makes you think about all the archives.
Right.
And how these seemingly ordinary items become these invaluable pieces of the puzzle. It makes you wonder, what seemingly insignificant moments in our own lives
Right.
might one day have historical or personal significance?
What stories will we leave behind?
Yeah, what stories will we leave behind for future generations to discover?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is a question worth thinking about. This deep dive's given me a new appreciation for President Carter and the impact he had.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about your own life and the stories that you'll leave behind.
It's true. It's the beauty of exploring history in this way. It allows us to connect with the past
Right.
in a meaningful way, and you really do see yourself reflected in the lives of others.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe someday someone will be, digging through our old letters and photos, trying to,
Put it all together.
piece together our stories. Exactly.
Right.
Maybe we should all start thinking like archivists a little bit more,
I think so.
recognizing that potential for, historical significance in our everyday lives.
Right. And, if you're interested in learning more about President Carter and his legacy, I highly recommend checking out the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library and Museum.
That's a great idea.
You might even discover a surprising connection of your own.
You never know.
Yeah.
It's amazing what treasures and insights can be found in those unexpected places.
You really don't.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the life and legacy of President Jimmy Carter.
It's been a pleasure.
It really has been a pleasure exploring his story with you.
Likewise.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Inside Headlines.
And
Tune in next time for more breaking news and trending topics.